Well, afternoon, Greg. How are you?
Good, yes, good. Good afternoon. Good to jump on the call with you.
Good man, good man. So, Greg, tell me a little about yourself and your business, please.
Yeah, so my name's Gregg Reid. I'm the co-founder and creative director of 100 Studio. We are a design agency based in Belfast. We're just kind of starting off on our third year now. Kind of founded out of lockdown. We're trying to sort of surf that wave of the great resignation and do what we can to make the most of it.
Brilliant. And tell me what business leader inspires you the most?
So I've got a bit of an interesting one for this. So there's a girl called Jessica Walsh. She is very famously the runner. She kind of runs a business called And Walsh, which is an advertising agency based in New York. But I think the thing that kind of grips me about her and the whole studio kind of really takes a lot of influence from this is that she was kind of given a chance by sort of legendary graphic designer Stefan Sagmeister when she was just fresh out of university. She was kind of he sort of said, he gave her the keys to this amazing business and said, let's do this. And then it became one of the most influential businesses in the sector. And she's kind of gone from strength to strength in that. And she's been very, very much herself. She hasn't sort of faltered or tried to give in on any sort of creative aspect. She's been very driven and very involved in making sure everything's done the right way. And that kind of has always stuck with us.
Very good. I'm sure if there's some people that haven't heard of, I'm sure they'll be Googling her now as we speak, And what's the best piece of advice that you've ever been given?
This is a funny one. When we were starting the business, I was kind of hemming and hawing about doing it and spoke to a couple of business leaders or people who run other design agencies. And Magee from Sort told me that if he could go back in time and do it, he would make sure he did it before he had any kids. And I think that's sort of, jumping off into the deep end's fine, but I think jumping off into the deep end when you haven't got as much, your pockets aren't filled, probably makes it a bit easier.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And once you have kids, you're never near the deep end for a while.
But that's not
literally and metaphorically. So there you go. All right, superb. And whenever, who's the first person that comes to mind when I say the word success?
That's a good one. I think the first person that success. There's a gentleman that I know I'd be quite good friends with. He runs a business called Dawson Andrews. His name's Andrew Fulton. I've always been aware of Andrew and I've kind of got, become friendly with him in the last number of years after owning my own business and launching the studio. And I think having seen Dawson Andrews go from strength to strength and become this kind of international business, and it's still Andy at the end of the day. I think for me, I always lean on Andy when I have any questions about business. And I think it's because I know that he has this almost commitment to himself that business will be a massive success. And I'm not surprised, but I'm always astounded when I see how much further they seem to go each kind of year on year, the growth they see and then the way they do things is just amazing to watch.
Oh, fantastic. Sounds like a great guy. And what would you say are your three strongest qualities as a business owner?
So I think that I say we, the royal we, but yeah, as a studio, I think, we're a very, very creative business in a way that we don't let a lot of the factors that sometimes get in the way. We try to avoid that from coming into play. We want to make sure that the work that we do is being done in the right way and for the right reasons before we start to put other pressures on it. So I think creativity is one. I think that an exceptionally driven person, always have been. I've never been content with what was going on in life. In sort of singular things. When I was in university, I tried to run two different businesses. When I was in school, I tried to have as much going on as possible. I've just always been that kind of person that if I have possibly room to fit another plate into spin, I'll find room for two plates. And I think that drive to always be making new things and doing new things and trying to sort of break new ground has always been a part of what we do. And I think finally, I think I'm a relatively decent person to get on with. I think we always make that joke. We want to do business with people who I would sit and have a pint with. And I think that that's a big part of our business is, at the end of the day, it's work. And I think it's important to not forget that. And that if we can do something in that time we call work that makes it easy to then, when you have free time to enjoy it with the people you spend your time with, then that's a good thing for us.
Very good, very good. And who would be your ideal customer?
There's a diplomatic and a honest answer for that one. I think our ideal customer is someone who understands the value of trying to do new things, and in exploration and in discovery, and being aware that sometimes it's best to knock a wall down than trying to rebuild some of the bricks in the middle of it. So we're always on the hunt for clients. We're looking for partners who are willing to kind of come to us with good ideas and come to us with kind of open books and say, look, let's do something really interesting here, and let's not let X, Y, and Z get in the way of it. And that's kind of for us, we want to make sure that we're partnering with clients who understand the value of it, because they buy into it, we can really buy into it. And for us, that usually means a far better end result.
Now, which answer was that? Was that the diplomatic one or was that the honest one?
That was the diplomatic one.
All right. And are you going to get
the honest one is people with really, really, really deep pockets, but you can edit that one out if you want.
I can't, sorry. But anyway.
Right. If anyone's watching this, just get in touch.
It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you a bad person. So tell me, what does your business look like in 5 years' time, Greg?
Operational would be good. No, we started the business in the middle of the pandemic. I think we didn't get the ship sailing before we hit the storm. I think we were just in it. And I think that we have that kind of survival instinct. I would like to think that in 5 years we've grown a little bit, but I think for us it'll be that the work that we've done is far more widely known, and that we're able to look outside of Northern Ireland and see projects that are maybe more globally recognized. And I think we're probably, to be honest, already on the edge of that. I think that it's a case of how do we make sure that we stay very truly rooted in Belfast, but able to offer something and hopefully bring more to the table in Belfast than is here right now. So I think 5 years from now, we'd like to think that the business looks better, but so does the city around us.
And do you have a favorite book or podcast or both?
Yeah, so I'm really big into trainers and always have been. And I think for me, one of my favorite books is Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. I'm married to someone from Portland, Oregon, where Nike's headquartered. I've been to the campus a couple of times. I know of people who work there. I think that as a business, it's got that kind of unwavering ability to do new things and want to break ground and want to consistently challenge and reinvent what they're trying to do. And I think that if anyone hasn't read the book, it's the most amazing story of rediscovery, of reinvention, and of essentially, getting your feet going. It's the whole book could be a book about running, but essentially it's you got to start running at some point, and if you keep going, you keep going. And I think that's the key message I took out of it.
Right. Yeah, Shoe Dog is a great book. It is a great book. And what would you say, what's the biggest challenge that you're currently facing in your business?
I think for us, because of the model that we use and because of the way we approach work, we don't necessarily have a list of services that you're going to Google graphic design Belfast, brand identity Belfast, web design Belfast, and see us come up, because we don't want to be a box checked exercise. That's never how we want to run the business. We want to make sure the projects that we do are being influenced by factors much broader and wider than that. We don't measure project success on a 3-week or a 6-month basis. We want to know in 10 years that business, the work that we did, is still paying off in 10 years. So I think for us, the biggest challenge we have is trying to identify good partners and identify partners who are bought into that idea of delivering something different, not just in terms of, it looks different, but it feels different, and it can live differently. It becomes something so much more when you put that effort into it at the start. So I think we've possibly made a rod for our own back and being what we would say utterly creative as much as we can be. It sometimes in hindsight, it would be easier for us to generate new leads for work or other similar things if we were a bit less focused on just trying to do this amazing creative work all the time. If we were a bit more sort of the term be sort of management savvy, I guess.
Okay, all right, interesting. And if somebody wants to get in touch with you or Craig or 100 Studio, what would be the best way to go about that?
Honestly, any way you can. We've got our website, which is 100studio.co.uk. You type it into Google, we'll come up. We're active on all the social media platforms. we've got a landline in here, emails, we're here all day. To be honest with you, if any of you really want to come and meet us, like we're right across the road from the Aragal. Anytime, any place basically works for us, but that's a really good time and place, and after lunch, we'll say, to be fair, but it's very handy stomping ground, and it makes the office all that much wider.
Good stuff. I know exactly where you are. My school bus used to go past there every day, many moons ago.
Never that temptation, right?
Well, look, Gregg Reid from 100 Studio. Listen, thanks very much for telling us about your story and your business. It's been fantastic, and thanks very much for your time.
No problem. Thanks for having me. Good to chat.